Hey, language enthusiasts! I hope you're all doing well, enjoying the summer. Whether you are in a summer school in some immersive program, traveling where you could practice your language and putting your knowledge to the test, or simply enjoying your daily studying or journaling routine. I wish you all the best in your language learning journeys. By the way, you can tag me on Twitter at Summer Languages to share your study routine during this beautiful summer of 2026. Right now, in the month of June 2026, I am focusing on German, and I'm doing my best with German grammar. If you are a German speaker or if you're learning German, you would definitely know what I mean. So now, without further ado, in today's episode, I would like to answer a fundamental question. Learning languages, is it a sprint or a marathon? To answer this, I want to share some thoughts to help you decide, in the end, which approach fits best. Learning languages is one of the most diverse experiences out there. First of all, it can be a temporary, short-term project, or it can be a lifetime goal. Some people just need a language for a specific purpose, often tied to a single project, like visiting a country, staying there for a short while, or communicating with people during a specific period. I know people who went to work in foreign countries and needed a few lessons just to understand the basics of the native language and to get by in their daily life. Once their contract was up and the job was done, they left, and their interest in the language died with the end of that project. In that case, learning a language is a sprint. You arrive, you need to communicate right away, or maybe you're taking a university course and just need the credits. Once you get those credits, the goal is served and the interest fades. Now, for the people who treat language learning as a sprint, is it a lost effort? In my opinion, absolutely not. Every language we learn, regardless of the purpose, gives us room to expand our cognitive abilities, our communication skills, and our understanding of the world. So don't look at those 2 courses you took in Spanish at the university as lost time just because it was mandatory for your degree. Even if you're not fully convinced you're using it today, intellectual experiences shape us in ways we can't perceive at the moment. It enlarges your character, gives you substance, and builds problem-solving skills. The correlation isn't always obvious, but it always yields a positive result. It certainly didn't harm you. Another way language learning becomes a sprint is when you have a specific deadline, like prepping for an exam. Your effort is intensely focused on the immediate requirements of the test rather than naturally acquiring the language. Think of someone cramming for a French proficiency exam like the DELF B2 for 2 months, for example. They are sprinting, memorizing specific connectors like néanmoins or compta, and drilling essay formats. They are intensely focusing on hitting a target score by a specific date, absorbing a massive amount of vocabulary in weeks that others might take months to learn. In this sprint mode, you focus entirely on getting to the point. You look for high-yield results without necessarily diving deep into the nuances. And these sprints aren't bad at all. They can be incredibly effective because your focus is so intense. But let's go back to our initial question. Is it a sprint or a marathon? In my opinion, taking a language from a beginner level to an independent, fluent speaker level requires a marathon. You cannot expect to get everything in one single setting and just be done with it. You might get marvelous, fiery results from intensive study at the very beginning, and that's perfectly fine, but expect to spend a lot of time in the long run. A language needs time to settle into our minds. It needs to live with us until it becomes part of who we are. As long as we are beginners or early intermediates, the language stays on the periphery of our lives. We become real speakers once we fully engage with an environment dominated by that language. And that doesn't have to be a geographical place, just an immersive mental space. So you don't have to live in a country where this language is spoken. You need to live that language regardless of the place, the physical place. To reach that stage, to be comfortable and convey your ideas clearly, you need time. And it's not just about standard practice. Some people think, okay, I'm going to practice every single day with a tutor or a language partner. And while this is helpful, our second, third, or fourth languages truly become part of us when we carve out a permanent room for them in our lives. It has to happen because we want it to be, we need it to, and we allow it to. Otherwise, it just feels fictitious, you know? In a marathon, you have to cover a massive distance, right? So you need to take breaks. Here, taking a break doesn't mean you stop engaging with the language completely. You can switch to passive engagement, like watching videos, films, or reading books. Think of this passive time as pulling over at a water station during a race. Instead of drilling grammar, you sit back and watch a Spanish series like La Casa de Papel or listen to a casual podcast. You aren't actively studying, but you are nourishing your brain with the rhythm of the language. It's like stopping for a drink and some electrolytes so you have the energy to keep running the marathon. And let's be honest, studying doesn't have to be painful, but there's some level of discomfort, right? Just like in a physical marathon, you have to expect a certain level of fatigue and hitting the wall before you reach the finish line. When you finally become an independent speaker and you're comfortable using the language in general settings, that is your moment of triumph. It's an exhilarating feeling. But just like marathon runners who finish a race, you have to think about maintenance. Runners don't just stop running forever. They need to maintain a baseline level of physical fitness throughout the year and then discipline their training again before the next big event. When you reach the finish line of your language marathon, you transition from learning the language to using it to acquire life experiences. You're no longer fishing for new words or parsing grammar rules. You're reaping the fruits of your labor. Imagine you want to read a book about personal finance and you hear about a wonderful title written by a German author because you ran the marathon and achieved independence in German. You don't have to wait for an English translation. You can just buy the original book and read it. You aren't doing it to practice your German. You're doing it because you want the financial advice from that book. You're simply living your life through the language. Similarly, you watch a movie and follow the plot seamlessly. Now, as an independent speaker, you might still use the subtitles in your target language sometimes or all the time. It doesn't matter. That's completely normal. Even native speakers do that, by the way. But the point is, you are finally enjoying the results of your hard work and embarking on a wonderful new journey of making the language work for you. So, what's the final verdict? Learning a language can be both a sprint and a marathon. A sprint can happen in specific cases and lead to wonderful, fast results. But for a truly sustainable, lifelong connection to a language, it must be treated as a marathon. When you pace yourself and cross that definitive finish line, a whole world of wonderful opportunities opens up to you. Now, a question for you. What are your language learning experiences? Have you approached them as a sprint or a marathon? And how did it go for you? I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.